Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I got one for you straight out of Atlanta. Fannie Willis, who's the DA in Fulton County, has been all through the news trying to prosecute Donald Trump. But we have another ex-police officer, ex-Atlanta prosecuting attorney who got caught with her hand in the cookie jar for stealing and defrauding the government out of $15 million in COVID funds, the PPP loans. And the words that she spoke into existence externally were a little bit different than what she was like internally. Here we go. Glamorous Atlanta prosecutor is jailed for stealing $15 million of COVID funds and using the cash to buy diamond rings and a pink Rolls Royce. The former assistant city attorney of Atlanta, who was also a life advice podcaster, has been jailed for 7 years after fraudulently obtaining approximately $15 million in COVID relief loans. Shalitha Robinson, 62, used the illegally gained funds to splash out on luxuries such as a 10-carat diamond ring, a Rolls Royce, and a motorbike. The former police officer had obtained the money under the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, a federal stimulus program that was set up during the pandemic. But only weeks before she was in prison, Attorney Robertson was still gleefully appearing on her daughter's Mommy and Me podcast, in which the pair would give their advice on dealing with the world, including advising listeners on how to earn money through hard work and integrity. Follow this story and the hypocrisy on her final conviction in this fraudulent scheme. But Robinson didn't follow her own advice and decided to make her money through deception, submitting one false loan application after another to the COVID relief scheme, claiming she needed the cash to support 4 businesses she owned. What she said in the loan documents was extraordinary, claiming she had a workforce of more than 400 employees, meaning she was entitled to millions of dollars in handouts for each of the companies she claimed to run. Court documents show that Robinson falsely claimed she was responsible for over 427 employees. The number of staff in her companies allowed her to obtain enormous PPP loans, which were designed to keep legitimate businesses afloat through the pandemic. In an October episode of the podcast Robinson presented alongside her daughter, Bree Renee, she was asked if she could choose integrity over poverty when asked how she would react to the chance to make money quickly. And Attorney Robinson said, "I choose integrity and whatever else it brings. I don't choose selling your soul to the devil, because that would mean I am willing to belittle myself and degrade myself for the love of what? Of a dollar." Robinson began knowing full well that the Department of Justice was already investigating her. "How my kids view me and respect me," she said, "means more to me than earning a quick dollar. For me to be something that I'm not," Robinson said. Just weeks before she was hauled off to jail, Robinson used the multi-million-dollar proceeds from her loans to purchase luxurious items, including a 10-carat diamond ring worth at least $150,000, as well as luxury vehicles, including a Rolls Royce. The DOJ also says she transferred funds to a co-conspirator, Chandra Norton, and other family members. The pair had no such qualms about abusing such a scheme, even submitting false tax documents to back up their inflated income statements within each loan application. A jury convicted Attorney Robinson of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering, with the judge sentencing her to 7 years and 3 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Robinson will be almost 70 years old by the time she's released from prison, leaving her influencer daughter, Bree, who has over 600,000 Instagram followers, without a podcast partner. In the Mommy and Me podcast, in which the pair discuss navigating life's challenges, according to Apple Podcast Preview, in one episode of the podcast from October 2023, Robinson advises followers to chase their dream because the money will come. When you have a passion for something that you love, you can do it for free. Don't ever chase the money. The money will come. Chase your passion. Chase your dream. The money will come, Robinson insists. Her daughter, who was born through artificial insemination, posted a glowing tribute to her mother. I wouldn't be who I am today without my amazing mom. Example, she's a hustler. You are. Daughter Renee wrote just a few weeks ago. Thank you for every sacrifice you made and every dream you pushed me to achieve. In court, Robinson tried to appeal to the judge before her sentencing. She said, I'm dead broke. My business is gone. My law license is gone. My assets are gone. The only thing I have left is my family and my faith in God. She said she was deeply sorry for the impact her conduct has had on her family, her wife, and community. I'm not that person that tries to take advantage of anybody or any situation, she said. I've owned up to what I've done. U.S. District Judge Stephen D. Grimberg said the loss of the $14 million in funds was staggering and egregious. It was her level of direction and confidence in being able to commit this level of fraud without being detected that instigated it in the first place, Grimberg said in court. Motivated by greed, Robinson deceptively obtained funds that were designated to provide emergency financial relief to struggling small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic, said U.S. Attorney Ryan Buchanan. It was her level of direction and confidence in being able to commit this level of fraud without being detected that instigated it in the first place, Grimberg said in court. Motivated by greed, Robinson deceptively obtained funds that were designated to provide emergency financial relief to struggling small businesses. Today, the defendant in this case was held accountable for fraudulently obtaining millions of dollars through the Paycheck Protection Program, PPP, and using those stolen funds to enrich herself while small businesses were struggling during the pandemic, added Kyle Myers, special agent in charge of the FDIC. The FDIC Office Inspector General remains committed to working with our law enforcement partners to pursue and bring to justice those who took advantage of such pandemic relief programs and threatened the integrity of our nation's financial institutions. Now, this is a story that is filled with hypocrisy and dichotomy. This former police officer, former Atlanta prosecutor. So she's been in law enforcement. She's been on the legal side of our system for many years, supposedly to protect and to serve as a former cop and as a prosecutor to make the world or the United States a better place, let alone Atlanta. And while she's outwardly showing that was her nature and character, inwardly she was being allegedly just as diabolical as the average criminal that she either arrested as a police officer or prosecuted as an attorney. That's hypocrisy at its fullest and finest potential. what is going on with some of our attorneys across the country, and what is going on with some of our black female attorneys that are getting in quite a bit of hot water. You had the Baltimore District Attorney, Miss Mosley, who just got convicted for fraud, a similar case just like this one. You had the St. Louis prosecuting attorney, Kim Gardner, who just fumbled and debacled the entire legal system in the city of St. Louis, put it in a stranglehold. There were thousands of cases that were not being presented in court. People were committing the most heinous crimes, murder, assaults, all kinds of things, and Kim Gardner could not maintain and handle that office, and the Missouri Attorney General, the feds, had to forcibly remove Miss Gardner from her position. We got to make sure through affirmative action, DEI, whatever the acronym is today, not to just hire somebody based on color, but the content of their character and their level of intelligence to handle the job. You have these prosecutors that are having people's lives in their hands, and the power of a pen can determine whether someone goes home free or spends 15, 20, 30 years incarcerated and in prison. And some of these prosecutors, whether it be Atlanta, St. Louis, or Chicago, are not the best fit, and it shows in their work habits. This Atlanta prosecutor was also Miss Robertson, Shalitha, and 62 years old. This is not a 32-year-old. Should have known better. She's even pontificating on a podcast with her daughter about trying to manifest one's truth in a positive and righteous way, which is part of what my video channel is called, Manifesting Your Truth in the Right Direction. And while she's exuding and extrapolating those words through her mouth, the rest of her body, her mind, and her heart was going into a different direction that was negative, that was criminal, and she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Let's get the right people in our authority positions, chiefs of police. We need great police officers. We need great teachers. We need great prosecutors. Not only great as far as their legal mind, but great in their integrity. Tell me what you think about this case of this glamorous Atlanta prosecutor who has been convicted of stealing more than $15 million of COVID funds under the PPP loan situation that the government had put up for small businesses to survive during the pandemic. And there are plenty of individuals who are going to get caught up in the chasm of going to jail for fraudulently submitting documents to the government for businesses that were either shell companies or weren't real. And now that it's been a few years, the government is backtracking and finding out who was really telling the truth and who was not. So let's manifest our truth in the right direction. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience.